Do you have a weak ass and thin thighs like Al? Do you keep slipping off your seat when you're going up hills? Well, if you do, stand by, because we're installing this.
Today on Hard Enduro, we install a gripper seat. Just like wearing a ribbed condom inside out, this one's ribbed for my pleasure. Today we're going to be installing a gripper seat to this Beta Xtrainer. Now on this particular bike, the fabric on the seat is pretty grippy. However, we prefer to ride with a gripper seat that has all the ribs down it, that gives you a lot more traction when you're going uphill and you inevitably find yourself sitting down. So we'll cover off on a few things. There's a heap of different gripper seats that you can use. We'll be doing a strike seat cover today. This one here. You've got brands like Gutz, Motoseat and Seat Concepts. So you'll easily find one that suits the bike that you're riding, and they all pretty much achieve the same sort of thing. We're also going to touch on shaving a seat down today. Now, we're not going to do that on the Xtrainer because it actually has quite a low profile seat already, and I find this seat really comfortable. But we will show you the methods used to shave those down, and there's some really good videos from other channels on YouTube that can show you how to do that. The key thing to consider though, if you do shave it down, is that you're going to take any comfort that was in the seat out of it, and you want to do it in small increments and test if you're going to do it that way. So the seat cover we're doing today, which is this strike one, has all the ribs down the middle. Now, the material itself is quite grippy, and you'll really be surprised if you haven't used one of these, just how much traction you'll get on your riding pants when you find yourself sitting down on a tall hill. So we'll set this up. We're going to strip the current cover off the seat, then we're going to show you the cut down process and then how to use an air stapler. So our next step is to take off the existing seat cover. Now, if you're not going to shave the seat down and this seat cover is relatively grippy, you could choose to just put the new cover straight over it. We're going to take this off, and if you had felt that your original seat was quite slippery, I wouldn't do this. But if you're going to get a good bond, that's really up to your choice which way you do it. Now on the bottom of any seat, you're going to have all these staples, very simple way of holding the seat cover on, and that's all we're going to imitate when we put the new cover back on today. So we'll start loosening all of these old staples. Now it's handy to have a little flat blade screwdriver or a pointer of some kind to get some purchase. It's very hard to get the pliers straight into that embedded staple. So we'll just start prying those up and then pulling them out. Now it'd be good if we're able to preserve this seat cover as well, just to have as a spare. But you'll be lucky if you don't create some tears and holes in it as you get it off. And all these staples are going into is just the plastic chassis of the seat. So there's quite a lot holding it on. $2,003,000, $2,004,000, $2,005,000. And multiple days later, we've got the staples out of our original seat. So that should just come off now. Oh, and the foam as well. So now we have our seat chassis. You can see probably a lot of the staple holes where it just goes simply through the plastic. And then our seat foam that we'll talk about the shaping of. At this stage, we could choose to modify our seat. There's a number of ways we could do this. So we could buy a new seat. There's a number of companies that do comfort seats that are higher. There's some that do low profile seats. And that really depends on what you want to achieve out of your riding and your comfort level and how confidently you can get your feet down on the ground when you need to. So today we're going to talk about shaving a seat down. However, as I mentioned, I'm quite happy with this seat, so there'll be no requirement to do it. So it depends how much of a backyard job you're going to do on this too. So there's a couple of methods. You can simply use something like a Stanley knife and just use it to slice through the foam. Now this will work well. It's also going to depend on what composition your foam is. So this is a really smooth plasticky type foam, like a closed cell. My last Yamaha had a really open cell foam that was sort of like hacking bits off and was a little bit tricky. And we know we've done a KTM 300 seat as well, which that had quite workable foam, and no matter how much we cut off, that still remained comfortable. Something like a Yamaha, you start cutting into the seat and it's going to feel like you're just sitting on a plank of wood. So you could shave that with the Stanley knife. Another good option is like a serrated steak knife, or ideally a big bread knife where you can make nice slices through with the serration. And some seats as well even respond to a rasp. So you're going to want a really big scalloping type rasp to do that with. But they're the options you have. And then some guys, if you're going crazy, even a angle grinder with a flat disc on it will do the job. But you're really just going to want to take little shaves of that each time and keep sitting on it and testing it. Everything you do is going to significantly change the feel of this seat. You'll probably find as well that you end up with a bit of a V, so there's a bit of a hollow, and that is good. That's where you'll find that your butt naturally ends up when you're trying to climb up a hill, but it can look a bit funky as well. So there are all the options for shaving a seat down, just little bits at a time, and then test and adjust depending on what you have cut out. The next step will be to attach our new seat cover, and that's just going to be done the exact same way as the manufacturer with staples. Now there's a couple of ways you can do this depending on the equipment you have. There is the old school hand stapler. Now we will warn against using this because we'll demonstrate in a minute. It's just very hard to get enough downward pressure for this to punch in far enough, but it is a backyard way you can do it. And I did this on my last Yamaha. The staples will hang out a little bit, but when you put another 2 million staples back into it, it will hold the seat cover on just fine. But the optimum way to do it is just to have a little air stapler. So these are very inexpensive to buy. You can also hire them, and it's very easy to hire a compressor or borrow one from someone for the day. So we'll set up this seat cover and then we will show you how these different ones work. So at the moment we've just got it draped over. Now we're going to have some margins on this as well. You can see with the ribs in the top, we want to make sure we even it all up nicely. And these strike ones come with a nice little sort of hooded section that goes over the front. So that really helps us to align that front end. Personally, I like to do them by just really pulling a lot of tension through the seat cover. We're going to easily be able to pull that middle section in later. So the first step really is to get that nice and taut. And I'll just put a hand staple in here so you can see how that goes. And right here is a good chance also to even up the seams on my seat. So if I bring that over, I'll press the stapler in, and really I'm going to have to get a lot of weight down behind this to get these staples to punch. They're awkward little things, they're going to slide all over the place on you. So you can see there that staple hasn't fully pressed in. However, that would be fine if that's the only option you've got. Just put lots of staples in, and you'll see in a minute that The air stapler will press those in quite a lot more. Now we'll go ahead and fix on the seat cover using our air stapler. So same as before, we've got the hood over the front. We'll line up the back here and pull a reasonable amount of tension into this, evening up the seam as we go. And we can come around and trim any excess later, but for now, we'll start fixing this on. So you can see there how much more flush the air stapler is. It just gets a lot better job done of putting those staples in. So if we fix the back, we've got good tension on it. Now we want to even up the sides, so we can pull those around at the same time and try and get that fixed nice and evenly. So I'll get this side done. And then this side. So now we want to have a check. We've got good margins and we can fix the front up a little bit, but the back and the middle are nice and even. Now that we've evened up the front, we can start working our way all the way around. Now there'll also be some overlap parts here and kind of like a hospital corners. You can trim these up. I find it's pretty hard to estimate where it's going to need to be trimmed, so you can also just really make sure you tuck all that stuff in and get a good few staples to pin that corner down. It's going to be a little bit different with each brand of seat cover. So we'll go around, finish off the sides now. Be pretty careful with your fingers and definitely glasses as a minimum. So that is how we put on a ribbed gripper seat. Now, this will make a really noticeable difference when you're out on the trails. So the material is a lot more grippy, and these ribs, they really do make a difference. So when you're sitting on the bike and you're going uphill, even in my FXD pants here, it's almost impossible to slide back on that bike. So if either like us, you try to stand and then you find yourself sitting down, you'll be able to stay up forward on the bike. Or if you just find that you're sitting in general when you're going up hills a lot, this will allow you to hold that position and to not get too far backwards where you're lifting the front wheel and losing control. So that's basic installation of a gripper seat.
Do you have a weak ass and thinny skies?
In skies?
Thighs.
Thighs.
Do you have a weak ass and, I can't say it.
In thighs?
Thin thighs. It's a tongue twister, I can't do it.
Yeah, it'd be good if you execute it though.
Do you have a weak ass and thin thighs like Al? Do you keep sliding? Oh, fuck. Oh. I pay people for this. Do you have a weak ass and a weak ass? Do you have a weak ass and skinny thighs like Al, do you have trouble gripping? Go again now. I don't know the second half. Do you have a weak ass and thinny thighs?